distance of the small intestine occurs near 5 meters, maybe more, 5.5, do you see, meters? And from this 5 meters, 24 centimeters for the duodenum only 24 centimeters for the duodenum. And duodenum is translated 12 fingers. Duodenum is translated 12 fingers. Why? Because many years ago, when the scientists started the examination of the corpse, do you see, of the human body, they didn't have near them some instruments for the checking of the distance. And they examined by fingers. And the, do you see, widest part of the fingers is 2 centimeters. 12 fingers will be 24 centimeters. And from this, duodenum got name. Duodenum, 12 fingers. Another distance from this 5 meters minus 24 centimeters will divide 2/3 parts for the jejunum, 1/3 part for the ileum. If you remember, the stomach is pocket and it is storehouse for the food. The small intestine for the absorption of the optimal things from food into the blood. And bringing after visiting to the heart, from heart for the bringing to the all tissues of our body. Did you understand? You can see this will be you can see the stomach, you can see this will be stomach, you can see, and the stomach continues to the bipyloric region into the duodenum. You can see this will be duodenum. Duodenum, it has, later I will show you in museum, the 4 parts. You can see the first region of the duodenum is called upper or superior part of the duodenum. By superior duodenal flexure, it continues into the descending part. By inferior duodenal flexure, into the horizontal part. And after that, it continues into the short part, which directs out from posterior wall and continues into the long jejunum. You can see the border between, you remember, stomach and duodenum consists the sphincter. This is thickest circular layer of the stomach. It's called pyloric sphincter. If you remember, before pyloric sphincter is placed pyloric valve, circular fold, which is extra curtain, which separates the acid pH and, do you see, the alkaline pH, which will be in the small intestine. You know that more organs, all organs which have tube shape, they have the typical structure of the tube organs. They have external sheet, and external sheet only for the pharynx and for the esophagus from the digestive tract will have external sheet adventition, reticular tissue for the fixation to the strong objects, and for the expanding of the space for the pharynx and for the fixation of the position of the long esophagus. In the abdominal cavity, all the hollow organs of the digestive tract, they will have external sheet. This will be serous membrane, very smooth serous membrane, which has basal membrane, and this basal membrane is covered by mesothelial cells which produce the serous fluid, and serous fluid is for the protection. If you remember, the stomach does peristaltic movements and pedal movements, it is mobile. And do you see this fluid, do you see, will cover the stomach because it has external sheet, this serous membrane, and will decrease the friction when the stomach will contact with another organs. The small intestine, 5 meters, do you see? And it is covered by serous membrane. It is for the protection. Another will be muscular sheet. Muscular sheet It will be formed like for the all objects from esophagus till end. It is formed by two muscular layers. And these muscular layers, every time, they will be formed by smooth muscular tissue. Internal will be longitudinal, compact, which do you see will come from stomach, will continue into the small intestine, is a very compact longitudinal layer for what? When it contracts, it increases the space. And external, the circular layer. Circular layer is compact like socket. It will come from stomach and will continue through the wall of the small intestine. You can see the contraction of the longitudinal, circular, they will contract not by whole distance, they will contract by levels, do you see? And they will do peristaltic movements. For what the peristaltic movements? The 5 meters of the small intestine, do you see, they complete into the loops, do you see, which are placed in the center of the abdominal cavity and concretely in the umbilical or mesogastric region and in the hypogastric region. And when the food will come into the small intestine, some loops expand by visit of the food, and other loops are closed. When the food by peristaltic movements will go distal, another loop will expand, another will before will close. Do you see? These are called peristaltic movements, and they are for the passage of the food. The mucous membrane. Mucous membrane, this is internal thawed sheet from outside to inside for the structure of the wall of the intestine. Mucous membrane. It consists, do you see, this is mucous membrane, you can see, and it consists the biggest number of the circular folds. They will be everywhere in the small intestine except some smaller regions. And mucous membrane, it produces biggest number of the circular folds along of the 5 meters. For what? I said you, our God gave us at first 5 meters of the small intestine. For what? For the optimal absorption of the all optimal elements from food. And also the absorption square will increase by biggest number of the circular folds. Later I will show in museum these folds here. Did you understand? And listen to me also. You can see, if we will look at mucous membrane of the small intestine, it is not very smooth. It is not very flat. Why? By increasing of our object by microscope, I will show you. This is space of the small intestine. And here, do you see mucous membrane prominence inside bivilli? These are microvilli. By our vision, we can see, do you see, this condition of the small intestine, mucous membrane of the small intestine, like unsmooth. Do you see? Like many smaller threads, yes. And look please here, you can see, this we have many milliards of these folds. And into this fold, will visit the lesser division of the artery, which is called arteriole. Arteriole visits, and you see continues into the capillary. And capillaries will complete into the venous. You can see here will be venous. And here will be the, do you see, capillary. Do you see? The capillaries, they have very thin basal membrane and endothelial cells on this basal membrane, between which are fenestras. Do you see? In the small intestine, we have destruction of the elements of the food to the molecular level. The proteins will destroy, do you see, till amino acids. And another molecular level will be monosaccharides. Did you understand? Molecular level. Why molecular level? Because this molecular level can come into the capillary through the basal membrane. Do you see? Molecule. Do you see? And through the basal membrane. But in the intestine we have destruction also of the fat. But the fat destroys by visit from liver of the bile. Bile has a high alkaline condition, its pH will be 9, and it, what does? It cuts the fat to the pieces. This is emulsification or emulgation condition of the fat. It is only pieces. And these are not molecules, and they cannot pass through the basal membrane. Did you understand? By finishing of the anatomy, we will study with you the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system includes organs and vascular part. Vascular part begins by capillaries, which collect into the vessels, vessels into the trunks, trunks into the ducts, and ducts, they bring the fluid which passes through this vascular portion into the veins. And these ducts are only two. And you can see the vascular portion of the lymphatic system begins by capillary. You can see this will be endothelial cells. You can see here in the blood capillary we had endothelial cells too. But the capillaries will complete, do you see, into the lymphatic vessel. Listen to me. In the blood capillaries is placed basal membrane. In the lymphatic capillaries, the basal membrane is absent. This is first moment. And fenestrous spaces between endothelial cells, they are bigger. You can see here, do you see, will visit into the lymphatic capillaries emulsification condition of the fat. Do you see? Why into the lymphatic capillary? Why not into the blood capillary? No, because here will be border basal membrane, but in the lymphatic vascular system is very high pH, alkaline pH equals 9. Do you know, sometimes you eat the soup, and after eating of the soup, do you see what you do? You wash the plate by soap. Do you see? This is alkaline pH. And when the smaller pieces, emulsification fat, comes into the lymphatic capillaries, it travels by long way. Capillaries, vessels, trunks, ducts, and continue its destruction till molecular level, glycerin and fat acids. And only by this condition, molecular level, from a lymphatic vascular system, it will come into the vein system, from vein system into the heart, from heart by arteries to the objects. If it, by our fantasy, will come into the blood capillaries, the pieces of the fat can glue, can aggregate, and can do the fat clot in the arteries. And if this fat clots will come into the vessels of the heart, into the vessels of the brain, will be insult or infarction. Did you understand? And you can see only by molecular level, when the pieces of the fat cannot glue, this fat by molecular level will come into the vascular system. Because this is structure of the villi. It consists the blood vessel for the absorption of the monosaccharides and amino acids, and lymphatic vessel for the absorption of the emulsification of the fat. Did you understand? I said you, the folds of the small intestine, the squares between folds, they include many milliards of these villi for the absorption of elements from food. Do you see? But in two regions of the duodenum are placed longitudinal folds. At first, longitudinal folds are placed in the superior part of the duodenum, and beginning of the duodenum from stomach is called ampoule or bulb of the duodenum. This, do you see, is very important. Why? For the very fastly exit of the acid food, do you see, and mixing with bile. Did you see it? For mixing with alkaline pH, with alkaline fluid. Sometimes, very often, by abnormal eating, by abnormal diet, by not mobile life of the persons, some persons, they have atony of the intestine. Atony, this is not a very active function of the muscular sheet. Peristaltic movements will be very slowly. The food will store in the small intestine in the large intestine by a long time. And you can see, if the peristaltic movements will not be very active, the food will store, near the pyloric opening, pyloric sphincter. And here will be alkaline, and you can see when the sphincter will open, can be opposite visit of the alkaline, because very often, by 70%, the ulcer of the stomach is placed in the pyloric region, very often. Also, if will be atony, the food exits and acid pH, will stop by a long time in the ampoule, because here everywhere will be busy. Because very often another ulcer is placed in the ampoule of the duodenum. Did you understand? You can see, but our God gave us longitudinal folds which are placed in the ampoule for the very fastly exit of the food and mixing with alkaline. And also, the one long longitudinal fold is placed on the descending part on the medial wall of the duodenum. Here is placed longitudinal fold, and here is placed the greater duodenal papille, and very, very rare, by 30%, lesser duodenal papille. You can see here the duodenum has arch shape. Do you see? And do you see concave of this arch? It joins to the pancreas. This will be pancreatic gland. Pancreatic gland has head, head, neck, you can see. Body, it is placed behind of the stomach. And do you see tail, which comes to the spleen? Here will be spleen, and the tail comes to the spleen. Do you see? This will be pancreas. And next time we will study with you. You can see through the pancreas, do you see, passes main pancreatic duct. Main pancreatic duct, do you see, comes, do you see, to the greater duodenal papille. From liver will come, do you see, the duct which connects with cystic duct and opens into the ampoule of the main pancreatic duct. This is called common bile duct and main pancreatic duct. Do you see? They mix their secrets and open by greater duodenal papille. Sometimes the 30% of the people, they have, do you see, the extra pancreatic duct. If the extra pancreatic duct is placed by 30%, the person will have lesser duodenal papille. If it is absent, only greater duodenal papille. Inside, in the greater duodenal papille, will be muscle, which is called sphincter OD. Sphincter OD, this is name of the scientist which described it. by its concrete anatomical name, the sphincter of the greater duodenal papilla. Did you understand? But this greater duodenal papilla is for the visit of the pancreatic juice, for the destruction, do you see, of the elements of the food, and do you see, hereby, do you see, greater duodenal papilla opens here the bile duct, yes, for the bringing of the bile. Did you understand? Listen to me. Here on the medial wall of the descending part of the duodenum is placed longitudinal fold. Listen to me, for what longitudinal fold? If will be here everywhere, you can see circular folds. Here do you see opens the main pancreatic duct after connection with bile duct. The visit of the food, it cannot open. Do you see? If will be longitudinal, this papilla, do you see, and open have the constant position, because by expanding of the intestine, by visit of the food, will not be. Did you understand? Will not be closed. Do you see? This is structure of the duodenum. You can see here. Now I will show you